don't have to set an intro video. No, we don't. We are live. Yes, we are. Islam, Islam, Islam. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Can we all stand as we recite our Moorish American prayer? We're going to turn to the east as going within. We put up 5 fingers on the right. I'm just going to do the going within. It's going within. So I'm representing going within. Put up 5 fingers on the left with 2 on the right with our heels touching one another. Standing on our square, repeat after me. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Islam, Islam. I would like to first rise giving the highest holy praises to our Father God Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Also Allah, the mother of the virtues and the harmonies of life that breeds justice, mercy, love, and right. We give honors to both Father and Mother. I would like to also rise and give high honors to our illustrious and divine prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, who brought us this message of love. Islam. I would like to rise and give honors to all the divine prophets for all the wonderful works that they brought unto us. Islam. And I give honors to each and every one of you here on tonight's live stream. Peace and love. Islam. So, of course, we're going to clean the house real quick. We're going to do some house cleaning before we get fully started in it. All right. So I'm going to do the recitation for our laws. So we have a divine constitution and bylaws that we follow. And in these acts hold us responsible of building up our character. That's why these acts are here, because they're character building acts. Every act is important, whether it comes from the divine constitution, whether it comes from the bylaws, or whether it comes from the additional laws and so forth, because there were even laws after the additional laws that were left. So this divine constitution, and it's always good to have a constitution for yourself. This is a commitment. That's why this stream tonight is called Commitments. So in these acts, it shows of some commitment that you must uphold, right? And how you act in holding these stations that you hold, whether it be a member, a grand sheik, a grand sheikess, a grand governor, no matter what it is that you are, you have a certain commitment and a certain duty. So your actions have to speak louder than even your words. Islam. So salvation, Allah, unity, the Moorish Science Temple of America, the divine constitution and bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday, the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Islam. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and partial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God, Allah. Noble Drew Ali, founder, the Moorish Science Temple of America, Home Office of Noble Drew Ali, Chicago, Illinois, USA. Islam. Now for the additional laws for Moorish Americans by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh is the governing head of our temple. All business of said temple must be approved by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali before being acted upon by any member. Let it be finance, property, or any line of life that will cause the member to sacrifice finance, that will cause the support of any group of members. Any former officer that violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under a heavy restriction, etc., by the Prophet or the Grand Sheikh. Act 2. All members are to attend their adept meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around on their meeting period, shall be fined $13 on the first case. 50 cents on the first case, and on the second case will be fined $1, which will go on your emergency fund. If a member is working, his monthly dues must be paid, and if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for as much as he is able to the Moorish Uplifting Fund, because it takes finance to uplift the nation. Act 3. It is the lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able in finance, to aid me in saving the nation. And if he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people, and justice must catch you. Let it be he or she according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power invested in my hands, and I will have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. Act 4. All members, while up making a public speech, must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak radical against the church or any member of any organized group, because we are to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5. All members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must confirm himself to the questionnaire, and let every member exercise his 5 senses who is able to do so, because out from your Sunday school comes the guidance of the nation. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Islam, Acts 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God, Allah. Islam. So we are going to get into this demonstration this evening based off of and what led me to these chapters of 32, 33, and 36. There is authority that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali signed, and on the back of that authority, he placed certain names there. Certain names in hopes and trusting that they would hold these positions and do what was right. But there were also certain instructions he left to show you. This is how, when we talk about our first act, when we talk about this first act in Act 1 of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws, right? In it, it says the Grand Sheikh and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce law with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs, if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Islam. So even in holding these positions as a sheikh, a grand sheikh, a sheikh is grand governors, no matter what the title is, chairman, there's certain duties, and members and other people must know that you are living this love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, right? So when the Prophet placed certain people on the back of this authority, that's the whole goal. For each one of these people to uphold their station, be what they say they're going to be, handle this movement in the way they say that they were left instructions to handle it, and entrusting no matter what, whether the prophet's in the flesh, the prophet's in the spirit, that these people are these people that were put in place for this, that they would uphold it to the utmost to protect the prophet and the temple, right? So there's certain instructions even in our Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali, to save us from ourselves, to save us from the iron hand oppression of whoever got their foot on our neck right now. This is what this came for. But there was certain paperwork that had to be filled out so that we can operate in a legal status, in a legal way. No matter what, whether it was to the said government or the government, we still have to show up in a certain way. There's still certain principles and morals we must follow, instructions we must follow, in order to even keep this movement going, in order to keep this organization, the doors open, as we should. So I want to read about this. It's called the Herd Statute. And it's something that had to be filed in Cook County, Illinois. Now, this is the revised version of that statute. This is the revised version of it. Because there is a herd statute from back in the day, but this one's still revised, but it still comes from 18 something. I'm going to get to it when it tells me, what does it say? 18 something it comes from. That when they revised it. So not too much, got changed, but still in this. This is a 805. And what it is, it's a Religious Corporation Act. Prophet Noble Drew Ali made sure that whatever we were going to do with this movement, that we would be in legal standing, especially in the state where our government is held, which is Chicago. So on this short title, the act may be cited as a Religious Corporation Act. Any church, congregation, or society formed for the purpose of religious manner following by electing or appointing according to the usages or customs at any meeting held for that purpose, 2 or more of its members as trustees, wardens, and vestrymen, or such other officers whose powers and duties are similar to those of trustees, as shall be agreeable to the usages and customs, rules, or regulations of such congregation. Told you the prophet left us rules, regulations, principles, morals, instructions. He left us these things so that as you follow through this, you're seeing his footprint clearly cut. He's showing you which way he went, even through this filing for this authority, because I'm going to talk about the prophet announcing his authority and power before we go into the Holy Quran. So as I was saying, these officers or whose powers and duties are similar to those of the trustees, as shall be agreeable to the usages and customs, rules, or regulations of such congregation, church, or society, and may adopt a corporate name. And upon the filing of the affidavit as hereinafter provided, it shall be and remain a body politic and corporate by the name so adopted. Section 36, the chairman or secretary of such meeting shall, as soon as may be after such meeting, make and file in the office of the recorder in the county in which such congregation, church, or society is organized, which shall be recorded by such recorder, an affidavit substantially in the following form. The state of Illinois. So I want to go back to Act 1 in our divine constitution and bylaws, because right here where it says the chairman or secretary of such meeting shall, as soon as may be after such meeting, make and file in the office of the recorder in the county in which congregation, church, or society is organized, right? So even when we're going to Act 1, the Grand Sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the prophet and the grand body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. You can see that in Section 36, where it talks about the secretary and the chairman and how they can file, and really how anyone that's put in these positions, how they're supposed to uphold certain things. No different than the trustee did, no different than the original person that placed their name on there. You still have a duty you must uphold. So in there it says, I do solemnly swear or affirm, as the case may be, that at a meeting of the members of insert the name of the church. So we would say the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, the members of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, the members of the Moorish Science of Temple, however you want to say it, if you placed it there, right? Held at place of meeting, whatever that address may be. It could have been Michigan Avenue. It could have been Lincoln. It could have been any of these other places. It could even be where you place yours to be, in the county and the state of Illinois. On the date for that purpose, the following persons were elected or appointed. Here insert their names. So there were names appointed. There were Mealy Ill. There was Lovett Bay. There were all these different names appointed to be placed there, because this is what the law is. He's going based off of what the said government is telling him to do. He's going based off of what that state and county is asking of him to do. So this is how the Moorish Science Temple, or the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, the Moorish Science Temple of America, this is how it all came into play. He's following the laws. He's following the rules that are laid out in order to run this as a religious corporation. Islam. So the following persons were elected or appointed. You put the names there, or wardens, vestrymen, or officers, by whatever name they choose to adopt. So what names they chose to adopt? They chose to adopt the name, right? The prophet on there, Noble Drew Ali. But they chose, these other people had to choose to adopt these other names to go on there, with powers and duties similar to the trustee. So they had to have powers and duties similar to the trustee, according to the rules and usage of such church, society, or congregation. And the church, society, or congregation adopted as its corporate name and inserted the name there, which was the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, the Moorish Science Temple of America, the Moorish Science Temple, whichever. And at the meeting, this Affian acted as chairman or secretary, as the case may be, subscribed and sworn to before me on a certain date. Such congregation, church, or society may change its name or make other amendments to its original affidavit of incorporation by passing a resolution of such amendment in accordance with the rules and usages of such congregation, church, or society, and filing an affidavit to the effect in the office of the recorder in the county in which such congregation, church, or society is located. Such affidavit or copy thereof, duly certified by the recorder, shall be received as evidence of the due incorporation of such congregation, church, or society. The term of office of the trustee of any such corporation may be determined by the rules or by laws of the congregation, church, or society. Then it gives the source or laws, 1871 through 72, page 296. The 805, which is an Illinois religious organization or business organization, that's what it was before they made it religious corporation. It was a business organization. A failure to elect trustees at any time shall not work a dissolution of such corporation, but the trustee last elected shall be considered as in office until their successors are elected. So what is successors have been elected since these people are no longer here? What successors have taken those places? And I'm going to ask, even in the successors taking the places on the back of the authority, are they upholding what is really what was supposed to be stood by when it came to this Heard statute? Were they really standing on it? Have they been standing on it? All the elections of trustees after the first and elections to fill vacancies. This is why we have convention, y'all. This is why conventions are important, because we should be placing trustees and people in these positions so that this authority stands and it continues to be what it needs to be. So as I'm looking through this, this is why we have conventions. This is why the conventions need to go on the way they do. This is where we'll appoint people, elect people, bring people in to sit in seats that need to be filled so that we can be in the affairs of men. Everyone's playing the game. You want to play the game to put your name somewhere just so you can show yourself to be of some type of status. It's not really to uphold what the prophet left and what your instructions were. Even once he left the body, the spirit still remains. And the spirit still knows that you're not doing your duty. Islam. All elections of trustee after the first and elections to fill vacancies may be called and conducted upon such notice and in such manner as may be provided by the rules, usages, or by laws of the congregation, church, or society. No certificate of election after the first need to be filed for record. A trustee may be removed from office by an election. So if we find that even in our additional laws, it says you cannot. What does it say? Oh man, here we go. Act 1 in our additional laws. So this is what it says. A trustee may be removed from office by an election, called and conducted in like manner as elections for trustees or his office declared vacant for a failure to act, immoral conduct, or for an abandonment of the faith of the congregation, church, or society. Has the Moors abandoned the Moorish Science Temple of America? Because honey, right here, it sounds like we have a commitment that ain't been upheld. Because right here, it specifically says a trustee may be removed. This says the Grand Sheik is the governing head of our temple. All business of said temple must be approved by the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, before being acted upon by any member, let it be finance, property, or any line of life that will cause the member to sacrifice finance, that will cause the support of any group of members. Any former officer that violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under a heavy restriction, etc., by the Prophet or the Grand Sheik. Removal. You can't abandon your station. Has it been abandoned? Are we really living what we should be living? Are we really standing on these principles that Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought us to stand on? Are we using the tools to continue to stand on our square? Upon the incorporation of any congregation, church, or society, all real and personal property held by any persons or trustees for the use of the members thereof shall immediately vest in such corporation and be subject to its control, and may be used, mortgaged, sold, and conveyed, the same as if it had been conveyed to such corporation by deed. But no such conveyance or mortgage shall be made so as to affect or destroy the intent or effect of any grant, legacy, or donation that may be made to such person or trustee for the use of such congregation, church, or society. So where is the finance? Because right here it's telling me that the finance that we even gather through membership or anything is supposed to go to a certain place because it's intended for something specific. So whatever that is, there should be some form of an account that's still sat there. And every time we're paying our dues, it should be going specifically to that same place to build this nation, because it takes finance to build a nation. So where is this finance? Because it's speaking of this right here in our face. However, this limitation of the disposition of real or personal property does not apply to the extent that a restriction imposed by a donor on the use of an institutional fund may be released by the governing board of an institution under the Uniform Prudent Management of Institutional Fund Acts. Any corporation that may be formed for religious purpose under this act, or any law of this state for the incorporation of religious societies, may receive land by gift, legacy, or purchase, and may erect or build thereon such houses, buildings, or other improvements as it may deem necessary for the convenience and comfort of such congregation, church, or society, and may lay out and maintain thereon a burying ground. But only 10 acres of such land shall be exempt from assessment for taxation, and all such land in excess of 10 acres shall be assessed at the same valuation as if it were not a part of a cemetery. And no such property shall be used only except in the manner expressed in the gift, grant, or legacy, and if no use or trust is so expressed, only for the benefit of the corporation, church, or society for which it was intended. And this thing is serious. I could keep going, man, just to show. Oh, wait. So there were certain laws and things that he left. And I mean, this is a lengthy thing that you can go and read for yourself about the Heard's Revised Statute and just breaking down what all this is about. Because from churches to organizations, congregations, all of these things that are built around that, there's certain things that are to be given to them. I want to talk about this one, Section 46. The trustee or any other persons designated by any such congregation, church, or society incorporated under this act shall have power to publish, print, circulate, sell, or give away such religious Sabbath school and missionary tracts, periodicals, or books as they may deem necessary to the promotion of religion and morality. See, it's so much that he left for us that we don't even go into read when he left it, why these names are there, why is an authority so important. It shall be lawful for any congregation, church, or society, now or hereafter, existing in the state of Illinois, and which is under the patronage, control, direction, or supervision of any ecclesiastical body, diocese, or like ecclesiastical officer, agreeably to the laws thereof, to become incorporated according to sections 46 to 46A to 46H, inclusive of this act. Such ecclesiastical body, diocesan, or like ecclesiastical officer may nominate and appoint according to the usages, customs, rules, regulations, articles of association, constitution, bylaws, or canons of any ecclesiastical body, diocesan, or like ecclesiastical officer, or sect, or denomination, two or more of the members of the such section or denomination residing within any ecclesiastical district or diocese, to act with the presiding officer or authorized representative of any ecclesiastical body, or with the diocesan or like an ecclesiastical officer, having jurisdiction agreeably to the laws of any sect or denomination over such ecclesiastical district or diocese, in managing the temporal affairs of such congregation, church, or society. The presiding officer or authorized representative of any ecclesiastical body, or the diocesan or like ecclesiastical officer having jurisdiction as foresaid, shall by virtue of his office be a trustee of any congregation, church, or society which shall hereafter be incorporated under the sections 46A to 46H, inclusive of this act, and which shall be under the patronage, control, direction, or supervision of any ecclesiastical body or like ecclesiastical officer aforesaid. So that's a little bit of just a little bit of that Heard statute. So I want to talk about when the prophet announces his authority and power. And then we're going to go into the Holy Quran. We're going to go into the Holy Quran, and we're going to talk about these chapters and why these chapters reflect the Heard statute and the Heard's revised statute. Why he placed them there, but what he was expecting of each person that he placed on this authority. What he was hoping and expecting for each person to do that held these titles and had their names placed on here, the names that they adopted to be placed on there. So with adopting your name, with adopting the name and title, with adopting this name and title, you have a duty, a true duty to uphold. I mean, and it's a strong one. So we're going to talk about the authority when the prophet announces his authority and power. Forced to make changes, all governors and other officers of the Moorish Holy Temple are hereby congratulated for their past loyalty, fidelity. For I know it will be the same in the future. So he was expecting the same thing, even when he got ready, when he was going to change this, forced to make changes. All governors and other officers of the Moorish Holy Temple are hereby congratulated for their past loyalty and fidelity. It was just called Moorish Holy Temple because of certain incidents that have risen in some of the temples, which seem to come from the fact that there are those who do not know where the seat of power is vested. The prophet has ordered the following to be published. All authority and power of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science is vested in the prophet, noble Drew Ali, and those whom he appoints to act as in the supreme body. The prophet has the authority and power to expel any officer or member of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science who willfully violates or refuses to comply with the rules in regard to branch, Moorish Science Temple. And such suspensions and expulsions shall stand until in the judgment of the prophet the members and officers shall have made satisfactory atonement. All officers and members of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science and any such rules and regulations of the Constitution shall be in writing and not at variance with any law of the city, town, or nation, which the prophet shall declare as a law. Declare a law. During the session of the convention, all rules, regulations, and laws of the Constitution, and such as might be enacted and ordered by the prophet, shall express and explain in detail. So there can be no doubt as to what is required of each and every officer or member of the organization. The prophet will positively not tolerate any interference with the operation of this national divine movement from anyone by the prophet, noble Drew Ali. So the prophet, noble Drew Ali, that's when he announced his authority. His authority, no one else's. You still got to go through the prophet. Man, you can't do it just because your body's there. And he needed bodies. He needed people to fill in these spaces, because when you go and you have trustees and you have people on your as your when you're doing a religious organization, or even if you're just any type of organization, they want to know what your board is built up of. They want to know who sits on it. You know what I'm saying? So these people adopted these names. So they needed to also adopt the principles behind it. Not just because your name was placed there meant you were going to hold down your station and do what you do. Remember, the angels and the cherubim were the only ones that held their station. Their will was ever strong. So man really can hold a station as weak as his flesh is? He can't hold no station as weak as his flesh is. Hard for man to hold station. He becomes too weak. The flesh takes over. But the prophet, that he was very intentional when he brought these lessons. Very intentional, right? So even when he appointed, directed, elected any of these officials that were on the back, or that are on the back of this authority, even people that go to do this today, if they can't really say that they have any of these in them, their name shouldn't even be there, to be honest. If in these instructions I'm about to read to you don't apply to their lifestyle, then they should have never placed their name there. This is sacred. This is noble. And even for the ones that were there that didn't do their job, that did not do the job that they were really called to do, elected, appointed, and all of that. So let's see, as we look at the names on the back of this authority, who was really down for Prophet Noble Drew Ali? Who really stuck to these instructions that Prophet Noble Drew Ali left? Who really went back to study these instructions that he left? So really, who stood on that square and who really had the prophet's back while he was not here, while he was here in the flesh, when he left out of his first form, even when he went into the next form? Who really had his back like that? Who was really loyal? Who was really committed? We're going to find out as we read these chapters, because these chapters reflect Heard statue. Chapter 32 reflects the Heard statue from the original. 33 reflects Heard statue, and then 36 reflects the revised Heard statue. So as I said, let's see if All of these names that were placed there, because Prophet Noble Drew Ali was divinely prepared. Prophet Noble Drew Ali was divinely prepared. I mean, he was in his mother's belly being prepared to be a prophet. He was not black, Negro, and colored. When he found everybody else, they were still black, Negro, and colored. He was not. The Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali, by the guiding of his father God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity, back to the highest plane of life with his father God Allah. Prophet Noble Drew Ali was divinely prepared. Nobody else was. So who really had his back? Who was really loyal? Who was really committed to the words that he left? Who was really committed to this? Because most people can't even be committed to that Bible. Who was committed to this? And this is a commitment of self. This is a commitment of learning yourself. Islam. So, from the divine instructions from the prophet, this is the divine instructions from the Holy Prophet, chapter 32. Holy instructions from the prophet, charity. These are instructions. Happy is the man who has sown in his breast the seeds of benevolence. The produce thereof shall be charity and love. The prophet, happy is the man who has sown in his breast the seeds of benevolence. The produce thereof shall be charity and love. From the fountain of his heart, all praises due to Allah, thank you, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, shall rise rivers of goodness, and the stream shall overflow for the benefit of mankind. This is Prophet Noble Drew Ali. This is his character. Was this the character of each person on the back of this authority, though? Because this was his character, and we must imitate the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Not nobody else. He says, imitate I, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. He assisted the poor in their trouble. He rejoices in furthering the prosperity of all men. He censureth not his neighbor. He believeth not the tales of envy and malevolence, neither repeateth he their slanders. He forgiveth the injuries of men. He wipeth them from his remembrance. Revenge and malice have no place in his heart. Because when you're dealing with church and society and organizations, and you're coming in and you're taking care of the people, you got to have love in your heart. You can't have malice in your heart. You can't have revenge in your heart. You can't have all that when you're coming from when Allah appoints you or when God appoints you. When you've been divinely prepared, you can't come in those ways. No way, shape, or form. For evil he returneth not evil. He hateth not even his enemies, but requireth their injustice with a friendly admonition. The griefs and anxieties of men excite his compassion. He endeavoreth to alleviate the weight of their misfortunes, and the pleasures of success rewardeth his labor. He calmeth the fury, he healeth the quarrels of angry men, and preventeth the mischiefs of strife and animosity. I'm going to stop there for a moment, because there was one of my sisters on Facebook I just seen where she had to go diffuse a violent situation with a couple on the day that y'all, celebrate Christmas. I don't celebrate it, but on that day when everybody's supposed to be happy, jolly, and love, her neighbors are fighting in front of their children, a whole domestic dispute. And because the children are outside screaming, she decides to take action and go step in a quarrel that anything could have happened at that time. But through God leading her there to diffuse this situation, because he calmeth the fury, he healeth the quarrels of angry men, and prevented the mischiefs of strife and animosity. That only can come through the spirit, y'all. Too many people get caught up in this body thinking the body is going to save you. But if the spirit is in you, the spirit is going to move you to be that Messiah. The spirit is going to move you to be that prophet, if it's really in your heart to be that. Because this is telling you, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali was a prophet. He promoted in his neighborhood peace and goodwill. And his name is repeated with praise and benediction. These brothers on the back of this authority, can we say the same for them? Can we say the same for anyone that's holding a station in the Moorish Science Temple of America, in the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, in the MSTA Incorporated, whatever you want to call it? This charity. Charity starts at home. And this is about charity. And this was about Prophet Noble Drew Ali in his heart of charity, bringing these brothers in to appoint, elect, to see if maybe they would follow these rules. From the fountain of their heart shall rise rivers of goodness. The stream shall overflow for the benefit of mankind, not the benefit of yourself. So he's trusted in these brothers to do exactly this. Censor is not his neighbor. Believe not the tales of envy and malevolence. Neither repeateth he their slanders. Forgive the injuries of man. He wipeth them from his remembrance. Revenge and malice have no place in his heart. Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Prophet Noble Drew Ali. This is how amazing this brother was. And still is, because his spirit still lives through a lot of us that understand these love degrees that he left for us. For evil, he returned it. He didn't return evil for evil. He hated not even his enemies. And you're not even supposed to hate your enemies. If we really talking about being these conscious people, being these aware people, being these spiritual people, well, baby, charity starts at home. And if you're aware and you're spiritual and you're full of love and you know that's what, baby, charity starts at home. And it's not selfish. It looks out for the next person. It ain't looking out for the next person so it can get the glory either. It's not. Islam. So now, the divine instructions from the Holy Prophet, chapter 33, is another reflection of her statue, which you should stand on. If you're going to put your name on the back of an authority, no different if we're going to sign these nationality cards. We have some statues to stand up to. We got a square to stand on. We got some instructions we should follow. Not just because just what you see or what fits you, but we got to go in and find out what are these instructions that we are to abide by. Because as I said, the Constitution and bylaws is about character building, because this is a character building movement. So character has act in it. So the divine instructions from the Holy Prophet, chapter 33, holy instructions from the prophet, gratitude. As the branches of a tree. And I'm going to say this. So charity first. He extended his charity by placing them on the back of this authority. Now, did their gratitude come? Did their thanks come? Did they give gratitude? And in giving gratitude, was it seen that they gave gratitude for what Prophet Noble Drew Ali, for what he actually placed in their hands, the powers he placed in their hands to enforce law, make law, to make sure their communities were good, to not covet or do any of that toward their neighbor? This is what he trusted in when he placed these individuals on the back of this authority. So was there gratitude there? We're going to see. As the branches of a tree return their sap to the root. From whence it arose, as a river pours its streams to the sea, whence the spring was supplied. So the heart of a grateful man delighteth in returning a benefit received. So a grateful man delighteth in returning a benefit received. Were they grateful? Did they return a benefit received? Can we see that in their actions, their words? Can we see it? Your thoughts, words, and deeds mean it all. Can we see it? He acknowledged his obligation with cheerfulness. He looketh on his benefactor with love and esteem. Do you acknowledge your obligation with cheerfulness? And look upon your benefactor, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Have we looked upon our benefactor for love and esteem? Or even the elders that might place you and appoint you in these positions. as sheiks and grand sheikesses and all of these things? Did you acknowledge your obligation with cheerfulness? Did you really acknowledge it with cheerfulness and take it serious? And if to return it be not in his power, he nourishes the memory of it in his breast with kindness. So even if he couldn't return it because it wasn't even in his power, you still gonna nourish it, the memory of it in your breast with kindness. So you're gonna always treat it with respect. You're gonna always treat it with kindness. You're gonna always treat it with reverence. He forgetteth it not all the days of his life, because you won't. When someone has given this to you, something so powerful, something so beautiful. This is a God-given gift to you. This was given from on high. You was given these positions from on high. Are you grateful for them? The heart of the grateful man is like the clouds of heaven, which drops upon the earth, fruits, herbage, and flowers. But the heart of the ungrateful is like a desert of sand, which swalloweth with greediness the showers that fall, and buryeth them in its bosom, and produces nothing. So, being grateful for things doesn't matter, for anything. Were they grateful for the position he gave them? Even when we look at Jesus and his disciples, were they grateful for the positions that he appointed for them to have? Were they grateful? Did they even show gratitude? Most of them upswap with greediness. Greedy produces nothing. People walk around here and are greedy even with information. It produces nothing. You try to hold back what people should know. It produces nothing. And it's not cool, because that's not showing gratitude for what was given to you. You're not showing that you delight in returning a benefit received. You don't show that. You don't even acknowledge the obligation with cheerfulness. Envy not thy benefactor, neither strive to conceal the benefit he hath conferred. For though to oblige is better than to be obliged, though the act of generosity commandeth admiration, yet the humility touches the heart, and it is amiable on the sight both of Allah and man. But receive not a favor from the hand of the proud. To the selfish and avaricious have no obligation. The vanity of pride shall expose thee to shame. The greediness of avarice shall never be satisfied. So even in that number 6, but receive not a favor from the hand of the proud. Because, a lot of people can be proud that hold these stations. And so they'll act so much more prouder when they give you something. Now they're acting like they're better than you. So don't take nothing from the hand of the proud. To the selfish and the avaricious, they have no obligation. They ain't got no obligation. And they don't feel no kind of way in their heart about it, or being cold-hearted that way. The vanity and pride shall expose thee to shame. Your vanity and your pride being vain. And we spoke about vanity some cycles ago, where you learn that vanity is on so many levels. Everybody vain. Everybody's vain in some way or another. You got vanity on you. So we all need to work on. All of us. The greediness of avarice shall never be satisfied. So now, no matter what, as greedy as you think you could be, you think you can make it all, take it all, everything's for you. You know, you got the answers to it all and all of that. You're never going to be satisfied. Your greediness, it won't matter who comes in your life, who leaves your life. You're never going to be satisfied, because you're not even honest with yourself. You're not even honest with yourself. You knew you couldn't hold this station. You knew you couldn't uphold what he was asking of you. So why even place yourself in the position? Then you don't even have gratitude for what he gave to you. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali left us some amazing. Everything to save ourselves, everything to save a nation, everything to save ourselves. We don't even use it. We walk past it. We act like we don't hear people talking about it. But as I say, as soon as they say mass deportation and they taking you up out of here, you're going to be looking for how you can proclaim your nationality and divine creed. You're going to be looking for it then. But even in looking for it, even in coming to gain a nationality card, are you going to uphold your station? Because even in signing that nationality card, to me, as being a card holder, as holding a membership card, as being a member, that's still a lot of obligation. You got an obligation. You don't just have that card just to have it. You have it because there's an obligation you are to uphold. Charity, gratitude. Charity starts at home. The prophet gave it to you. His charity of giving this to you and allowing you to be on here to move it along the way it needs to go. But you show no gratitude. Did you show gratitude? Because in showing gratitude, get up here and demonstrate. Get up here and speak about how great the prophet has been for you. How this information has changed your life. Let's talk about how amazing Allah has been in your life. How you haven't wanted for anything. The commitments that come from Allah, the commitments that come from the prophet. Have you been just as committed back to them as they are to you? Even as you're able to open your eyes every day, take a breath. Be grateful for the little things. Have you been grateful for that? Have you been grateful for what's been given to you? The breath you breathe. The people you're able to see every day. Are you grateful for that? Because some people have no one. Some people are just so lonely, they have no one. Now, whether that's from their own doing or they just don't have anyone, but it doesn't matter. We should still be grateful for what we have. We should be grateful for the people in our lives. We should be grateful for any of the small things. They don't even have to be big things. They can be the smallest thing. You should be grateful for that. You should have gratitude. People walk around so much with no kind of gratitude in their heart. They're just waiting for someone to keep giving. But they still have no gratitude within them, even when they're getting. I know people that get blessed all the time. They show no gratitude in their hearts, though, for being that way. They'll go and continue to do the crazy things they were doing before the blessing came, and they cried about the blessing not being here, and then God opens up the windows of heaven, and they go and turn their back once again. So what is your commitment? Can you commit to yourself? Most people can't even commit to themselves, let alone to anything else. So are you committing to your spiritual upliftment? Are you committing to your spiritual walk? The same way that you commit to anything else. When it comes to you get up to go to this job every day, you're committed to that. When are you committed to self? When are you committed to uplifting this? When can the charity come from within you and you show gratitude for that charity? Charity starts at home. So I want to talk about this revised statute. The chapter that reflects the revised statute of the Heard statute. Because as I said, the prophet, he gave the charity in that charity of placing people on the back of this authority so that we could continue this movement. So it can never be dissolved. So we could continue to move on and press forward. That was his charity. But was there gratitude behind the charity that he gave? Because he told you what gratitude was. No different as the branches of the tree that return the sap to the root from whence it arose. Do you do that when a benefit is given unto you? So now we're going to go into chapter 36 from the divine instructions from the Holy Prophet. Chapter 36, Holy Instructions from the Prophet, Know Thyself. This is the Herd's revised statute. Weak and ignorant as thou art, O man, humble as thou oughtest to be, O child of the dust, What dost thou raise thy thoughts to infinite wisdom? What dost thou see omnipotence displayed before thee? Contemplate thy frame. Fearfully and wonderfully art thou made. Praise therefore thy Creator with awe, and rejoice before him with reverence. Wherefore of all creatures art thou only erect, but that thou shouldest behold his works? So you think because you're the only one erect that you should behold your works? Because you're the only one that stands up straight and can move as we do. I'm telling you, you have a commitment. Each one of us got a commitment. You signed a contract. You got a commitment. And you're going to have to live up to that commitment. Your soul's purpose, that contract you signed, you're going to have to live up to that commitment. Even on the back of this authority, still got to live up to this commitment. Everyone has to live up to their commitment, period. Wherefore, of all creatures art thou only erect, but that thou shouldest behold his works. Wherefore art thou to behold, but that thou mayest admire them. So even in beholding your works, even if you let them go, you want to admire them too much. You're doing too much admiring of those things. Wherefore to admire, but that thou mayest adore there in thy Creator. Wherefore is consciousness reposed on thee alone, and whence it is derived to thee. It is not in flesh to think. It is not in bones to reason. The lion knoweth not that worms shall eat him. The ox perceiveth not that he is fed for slaughter. Something is added to thee, unlike to what thou seest. Something informs thy clay, higher than all is the object of thy senses. Behold, what is it? Something is added into us, unlike to what thou seest. Something informs our clay higher than all the objects of thy senses. Behold, what is it? The soul. I feel it's the soul. We were given a soul. We were given something that we were given a soul. That's why I say your soul's purpose. So when I look at 6, that's what I see. Because the soul is a substance far too fine for fleshly eyes to see. It's far too fine for fleshly eyes to see. The body remaineth perfect after it is fled. Therefore, it is no part of it. It is immaterial. Therefore, it is eternal. It is free to act. Therefore, it is accountable for its action. Knoweth the ass the use of food because his teeth mow down the herbage? Or standeth the crocodile erect, although his backbone is as straight as thine? Allah formed thee as he formed these. After them, all work thou created. Superiority and command were given thee over all. And of his own breath did he communicate to thee the principle of knowledge. Know thyself and the pride of his creation. And the line, know thyself and the pride of his creation. The line uniting divinity and matter. Behold a part of Allah himself within thee. Remember thy own dignity, nor dare descend to evil or to meanness. So know the uniting, that line that unites divinity and matter. That line that unites the soul in this. Who planted terror in the tail of the serpent? Who clothed the neck of the horse with thunder? Even he who hath instructed thee to crush the one under thy feet and to tame the other to thy purpose. You know, as I said, Prophet Noble Drew Lee was intentional. This brings out the revised statute. So did they know themselves by this time? Because the revised statute came so many years later. Did they know themselves by this time? Because by this time, they should know thyself. And knowing thyself, they should know if they should really be holding these stations or not. Are they really holding them to the purpose that they were put there for? This is why we have conventions. Conventions are so we can elect, appoint, see who's really holding their station, see if our people are really living love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And we have given them these titles and these stations to hold. This is why no matter what year, what time of the year you do convention, what month you go, convention has to be done. Because for the conventions, it's not a party. This should be all about business, how we're going to organize, how we're going to run our businesses, who we're going to appoint, anoint, appoint, elect, whatever, who's running for office, who's going to take their station in their counties and their cities. This is what this is for. When you start looking over what Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought us, it's because we are supposed to be standing in the affairs of men. We hold titles to the original tribes of this place, the original people that were here. So in holding these titles, we should be moving in that way. So our charities should be starting here. We should be showing gratitude amongst one another. We should be more joining together and bringing these temples together and stop talking about who teaches this and who teaches that. At the end of the day, if we're not imitating either prophet, we're not doing it. It's not happening. I could care what our leadership is, whose leadership is whose, and whatever. If it is not solely in line with the prophet, because he says, imitate I the prophet. He never said, imitate I and my homeboys. He never said, imitate I and such and such. He never said, imitate I and my wife. He said, imitate I the prophet. And everyone's so caught up in imitating something else, not the prophet. Because even with her statue, he knew what he was doing when he was going to get his authority. He knew how he needed everyone to show up and in the positions that they needed to show up. And he was trusting and hoping that they were going to do such thing because they placed their names there with a title on the end of it. So you should want to hold to that title. You can't hold these titles and do nothing with them just because they look good. It takes work to hold these titles. So you just don't have a title because, oh, it was something to do and it looks good right there. No, this is work. The prophet, we have a duty, y'all. We have commitments. Not some of us, all of us. All of us. All of us have commitments. Each and every one of us that even carries a card, say we a L a day, a Ali a day, regardless of what we have a commitment. We got a duty and we need to get on it. No excuses. The prophet got rid of all that. We ain't got no excuses. So all this and that, let's stop it. It's time to come together. We are reaching a very pivotal point in our lives right now where this is all or nothing for us. This will help with our children's future. This will place them in a position that, man, I'm telling you, once they get it, they won't let go of it. They're not going to be lazy about it because we're going to leave the fire up under them so they can continue this movement, to continue to move in the way they need to, appoint them to positions, elect them to be in certain stations that they will hold and be honorable when they hold these stations, respectable, loyal, committed. If we start teaching them now, they'll be way more committed than we could ever think to be. We only come on to see who's what and how many we can get on here. It don't even matter. We got to get the message out. We need to be teaching this thing. I don't care if you got one person you teaching, two people you teaching. If ain't nobody on there and you send it out to your family members, this thing need to be taught to all four corners of the earth. I wanted to come on here because these commitments are serious. So even when you come and get this nationality card from these temples, please understand that's a commitment. Read the card so you know what you're signing up for. Because if you're not ready to take the commitment to take this nation to the next level, don't come over here. As I'm reading this Hearst statue, Marcus Garvey say it best. You'll destroy yourself, and people will destroy themselves. Don't even understand you'll destroy yourself with that pen. The pen is mightier than the sword, but the tongue is mightier than them both. So you wrote your name. You signed your name. You took your signature, your instrument, that signature, that handwriting, excuse me. You took your handwriting and placed it on something, not realizing what you were committing to, what your duty was. I don't see it. Because if that was the case, whichever one person stood their station and imitated our prophet, we wouldn't be in this mess we're in now with the movement. So I don't think nobody held their station. Same way with Jesus. Nobody held their station. He had 12 homeboys and not one held their station. His mama and his wife, the women. The prophet just needed bodies that day. But did they hold their station? Did they really live up to what he left for them to? When he said charity, when he said gratitude, he was looking in that Hearst statue. And when he read that Hearst statue, he was trying to find someone clean enough to even follow the rules that's in there. Because if you're going to commit to a congregation, a church, an organization, a society, and these constitutional laws are laid out to you, are you following these laws? Are you following these bylaws? Are you just doing it because it looked good? You can go finish reading her statue if you need to, just so you can see what it's all about, because it is lengthy, but it explains a lot, man. It explains a lot. So what is the connection? How we clean this up? Because people have just ran ragged with something they was never supposed to change or touch. Leave that alone. You can do your thing and add your own stuff, but never touching anything sacred. That's like going and saying, hey, we'll just take Jesus, we're just going to take the Bible from Jesus, or however you would do it. You know, you just can't think that that's what you're going to do. You're going to go and just think you're going to own God, I would say. But we need to, in signing these papers and holding these stations, we need to do what we are called to do. And we need to be more intentional about finding out what it is we are doing, what it is we are signing up for, so that we don't put ourselves in a position for something that we really ain't trying to work for, something we really ain't got no love in. We ain't trying to love on nobody like that. And we only here because we selfish. We don't need that anymore. So I wanted to come on here to talk about that tonight. I hope you guys all have an amazing Holy Day class meeting. I'm going to get on my meeting in an hour. But remember, we got the Taste of Africa coming up March 22nd. We are going to have a contest for the best dressed African garb, Moorish garb, however. Come in your best dress. We're looking for also talent for spoken word and maybe some conscious hip hop rappers, things like that, you know, singers, poets. We're looking for all of that for March 22nd here in Atlanta, Georgia. And I will keep you posted on many other things that are coming up. We're going to have the tickets go on sale January the 5th. We should have them rolling out no later than the 10th, but January 5th is when the tickets go on sale for the Taste of Africa. Plus, we have some more events coming up, but we'll talk more about that later. I hope you guys have a great evening. Peace and love.